Here.
I guess, we can go down some minutes and stuff first, or do you want to just go right down to changes in agenda? All right, previous minutes.
Make motion to approve the minutes from March 16th, 2015 with any changes or corrections.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bills.
I would like to make a motion to pay the bills in a total of $8,425.54.
Support.
Any questions or comments?
Is the amount there shown for change finder the full amount or a partial payment? I thought it was higher.
That's the whole amount. We give them a deposit of 16.
Okay.
You look at the actual invoice, it is $1,069.12 was the added up.
Now, which one's that?
The pictometry, the last.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Shelley.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Frank? Sue?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The changes to the agenda. I guess this is the proper time for me to ask for the board's permission. And I'd like to read this, and I'm going to try to do it. As you are all aware, the Township Board has been dealing with a personal matter whereby I have been accused of inappropriate behavior at the Township office. Although I deny that any of the allegations against me are true, the disruption this has caused within the community is becoming a major distraction to the important work that must be done to provide services to our residents. In addition, the toll this has personally taken on me and my health at a very difficult time in my life where I am dealing with the loss of my father and certain business matters, and that it must be taken care of to administer his estate has caused me further health issues resulting in my recent hospitalization for hypertension. I didn't want my grandkids not to be able to see me. I gotta clear my eyes. Due to this, I am announcing my resignation immediately, subject to the approval of the board. I'm doing so. I want to affirmatively state that I do not believe that I am guilty of any of the allegations against me, nor have I been found guilty of any of them. I am taking this step to simply put this behind me and better protect my health and to allow the Township Board to refocus their efforts on the needs of the residents. Which, again, I'll readjust. That's the most important thing in my thoughts was residents one at a time. That's how you make a difference. I wish to thank my many supporters, family and friends who have stood by me, as well as the many Township residents who elected me. I will never forget your support, friendship, and loyalty. I wish the board and the residents the best in a successful future for Vienna Township. And with that, that's it. Thank you all again, but I would like to add that this is still my township, and I still will stay involved. I was a fireman for 21 years. I've been involved on many committees, and there's no way I can just walk away from something that I've loved all my life. And so I really moved. And I guess at this point, I would probably ask that I turn the meeting over to Cindy and ask the board for their approval.
First, we need a motion to...
I'll make a motion that we accept the supervisor's resignation.
No, second.
And subsequent agreement. In subsequent agreement, effective immediately. We need a roll call on that, Shelley, please.
Dennis,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes. I guess I gotta say yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sue. Yes. Motion carried.
My second request would be that I ask that I be dismissed from the rest of the meeting, if you don't mind. Okay.
I'm sure we would have a motion for that.
So it's a personal thing. Okay. Thank you. It's been my pleasure working with you all. We haven't always agreed on things, but a lot of times we made some big differences and some little differences that turned out to be pretty big. So God bless you all, and I wish you the best. I'll be there ready. See you.
Okay, with the approval of that motion, we need to also, I'd like to make a motion to cancel the special hearing that was scheduled for this Friday, April 10th, 2015 at 8:30 in the morning. Support that? I think probably we should do a roll call on that too, shall we, please?
Frank, Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We probably should, just to be on the safe side.
I will make a motion. I wasn't sure if we needed to with his turning over to you.
He delegated it to
Yeah.
her.
So I guess you're ready.
Okay, secondly, in light of the events, by accepting the supervisor's resignation, I'd also like to make a motion to post for the position of supervisor, where the township will accept letters of interest and resumes until April 20th, 2015 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
By the saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. And to run along with that, we should also appoint a committee to interview the candidates that do submit a letter of interest and resumes. And I put some thought into this, and I think this is my feeling that the treasurer and myself deal daily with the supervisor, and because of that, I feel that we should be part of that interview committee. And it would be my suggestion that Nancy will also be put on that committee since she's been a past supervisor. What anybody else's thoughts are on that, but so I'd like to make that a motion to appoint the clerk, the treasurer, and trustee below to interview the candidates and bring back a recommendation to the board on May 4th, 2015. The reason that date, we have 45 days to fulfill this vacancy or fill this vacancy. If for whatever reason the board can't come to a decision on May 4th, we have one more board meeting before we absolutely have to have somebody appointed. So that's a motion, I just need a second on it.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. back onto our regular agenda. Correspondence. We have the 2015 March Board of Review minutes and log. This was a finding in our audit by the state from our assessing department. So these are required for the clerk's office to file and keep on record, but it's also good information for the rest of the Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. If you have public comment, please go up to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
My name is Steve Freiheit, 12409 Field Road. I recently received a township letter about blight. I agree with it completely. Blight to me is a never-ending supply of leaves thrown under mailboxes. I tried contacting a carrier yesterday. I was greeted with a finger out the window in reply. I contacted the company. I don't feel I got a reply from the company until I mentioned I was coming here and it was televised. They were less than helpful. I picked up 20 of these out of my ditch in the last 2-3 weeks. A never-ending supply of newspapers. I'm sure the advertisers don't pay for them to be thrown under the box. Many people have hooks. I myself have one. A lot of people don't. Balancing a newspaper on top isn't really delivering it. They end up on the ground, they end up in my ditch, the ditch across the street. I counted in excess of 30 of them on my street alone today. I think you all know there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I unplugged my culvert so the water could go down because it was full of newspapers. One of these newspapers is better than the others. This one is always on a hook. You people know which one this is, I'm sure. It's always on a hook. It will blow down, but they put it on a hook and always have. There's another one that's from outside the county. It's normally on the ground.
That's the one that comes from Chesney.
Yes.
I've been on the phone with that company myself.
I got a less than spectacular reply today. A man and his wife showed up finally, and I went out and talked to him. He actually jumped out of the car like he was going to intimidate me until I pointed out there was a sheriff's car coming down the road. It happened to be a reserve officer, but it made him jump back in the car. I'm young and strong anyway, so it don't bother me. But yes, this is blight to me. You know, there's houses here and there that need work. Well, another thing, people walking dogs. I'm not sure what the dog waste ordinance says. You walk the shoulder, dog waste everywhere. That's blight to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing no other public comment, we'll proceed to unfinished business. First item is truck route signage. You've all received in your packets the road commission cost estimate that the supervisor had received on 40 signs, the size of 24 by 48. Cost of $9,645.43. On the back of that sheet shows you a sign with the verbiage that the road commission states that we need to have, and also their daily cost estimate. I was able to contact a company that I dealt with previously, Action Traffic Maintenance. That's the second estimate that we have. On the back of that sheet also shows the the sign as I told him the information that needed to be put on it. For them to supply and install these signs, 40 of them, we're looking at $8,480. So there is a savings in using the alternate company. All the signs and posters that say on the quote will meet current MDOT material specifications. The only thing that this quote doesn't include are permit fees. If they are required to have a permit, they ask that they're just reimbursed simply for the cost of the permit. In my correspondence with Mr. Peak from this company, I inquired as to how long it would take for us to get these signs up. He gave me a time frame of within 45 days. He said it probably could be much sooner than that, but he didn't want to stick his neck out and say 30 days and not be able to do it. He said within 45 days, he said, I'm sure it'll probably be sooner than that, but I'm going to tell you 45 days. So I realize it's not going to probably make the frost laws, but at least we'll have signs up. And I did receive the map from the supervisor of the locations for these signs throughout the township. That's pretty much all the information that I have that I can offer you on truck route signs.
Did any conversations you have describe the material of the sign?
It's right on the estimate. It is 3M high intensity prismatic white background with black vinyl lettering. The post is galvanized. I'm sure it's aluminum. I know the signs that in my dealings with them in the past, so this company's been in business for many years. Is there any other discussion, questions?
I'd like to see two posts, but I think I'm going to lose that battle.
Well, I know that the road commission even showed the one post. That's what their quote was for also, was one post.
Worried about metal fatigue at the ground. One post with that 2-foot by 4-foot sign doing this in the high winds. If they start breaking off, we're going to have to go back with the post sign. We got to get the signs up. 10, 11 months dealing with this.
I would like to make a motion that we enter into agreement with Action Traffic Maintenance for the 8480 or the 40 signs for the truck route.
Second?
Roll call, please, Shelley.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, the next item on unfinished business is the assessor's employment contract. The information that I can give you on that is the supervisor was waiting for a contract from the assessor's personal attorney. I have not seen that yet, but what I would like to suggest, I've made a lot of phone calls today trying to figure out which way the township could go in case the supervisor's resignation was accepted to try to take care of business. And this was one of the items that I spoke about. It's been suggested that we set up a committee of 3 board members to sit down with the assessor and hammer out a contract. At that point, the board could do a workshop to also go over it and get everybody's thoughts and ideas, concerns out during this workshop, and then bring it back to a board meeting where we can just approve the subsequent agreement.
I've been tracking this kind of closely lately. kind of agree with Cindy, and I'd like to make the motion to table the assessor's contract negotiations until such time the board appoints a new supervisor. In addition, once the new supervisor has assumed the office, the new supervisor, and I'll put in there maybe committee, will be required to work with the full board and the assessor and or his legal counsel to complete the contract amendments within 45 days of taking office. All verbal, all existing verbal and implied contract amendments relating to the work schedule of 35 hours per week, Tuesday through Thursday inclusive, and Fridays if necessary, between previous treasurer Paul Rutenbacher and outgoing supervisor Randy Taylor, and witnessed by employee Canterbury during the employment interview discussions, will remain in effect until the board approves the amended contract language. Any contract amendments made to the existing contract will be in effect until December 31st, 2015.
Is that for a motion, Frank? Yes. No, second.
Any discussion?
And we only have one problem, I only have one problem with that, Frank. The way the contract is worded right now, he's in violation, and so are we of the contract, so the contract doesn't exist. So there's nothing to be voting on. It says that he works Monday through Friday. Right off the bat, contract was not valid. And he's also, I mean, that's my concern, I'm just saying.
He was hired Tuesday through Thursday. So
But that's not how it's worded and signed off on the contract.
The more important thing, and we've hashed this out the last couple of board meetings, but to go along with what Nancy is saying, more importantly, the contract was violated when he took on additional employment without prior approval of the board. So between having Monday through Friday, taking on additional employment, I personally, because this is a board matter, and the board's going to subsequently approve the contract, I think that, yes, it's a null, I mean, I hate to say it, it's somewhat of a voided contract, and I think there needs to be a committee set up, because the board is ultimately going to approve that contract, and they should sit down with Brad and hammer out what the township's requirements are, what he would like. And then again, we need to have a workshop with all board members in attendance, and we can do that. Or, it would be nice to just be able to bring back an agreement.
where would the supervisor fit into this discussion if we're not going to appoint one for maybe up to 45 days? We're looking at, I think you said May 4th.
Well, and we can certainly do that. I mean, we can table this until we have a supervisor appointed, and he can be part of that committee.
Yes.
But I think it needs to be a committee of, not only the supervisor, but also a couple of other board members that need to hammer out a new contract that the board is ultimately going to approve.
All right, I squeezed it in here in my written statement to include the new supervisor, and we can amend that motion to include this.
Include what?
I think we need to restart the discussion from square one again, because it's really been, I can't come up for a term with it, but it's kind of spun out of control within the halls of this building. And I think it's time just to sit down, restart it now with a new supervisor, and then work with the committee. I don't know, maybe the supervisor should be part of the committee, because MCL 4211A says he reports to the supervisor. I think that supervisor should have a little input on
Well,
who his reportee is going to be.
this was an item that was discussed with MTA. And the way you're taking it, they have a problem with the way that it's worded too. And I talked with legal counsel from MTA to answer the phone. And he said, yes, we have a problem with the way that that's worded also.
That is the way it's worded.
But it's
I think
not, But there's a, you know, and again, Frank, I really, we wasted a lot of time in these board meetings on this. And basically, I'm fine with tabling this, but tabling it until we have a new supervisor on board. But I guess, I'd like to see the motion be that once the supervisor is appointed, that a committee of 3 people sit down with Brad to work out a new contract, which is basically what you're wanting. But there'd be also 2 other board members. And if needed, then the whole board would do a workshop to get out all their concerns, all of the discussion, so that we could bring back a final contract to the board and just approve it and be done with it.
That's my expectations as well. But in the meantime, we stick with the wording in, I think it's 4.1. And I think Brad indicated in a previous meeting that he would waive the holiday pay when it falls on Monday. And negotiate your contract.
You're referring to wording in about the 3 days. I've looked at that contract. I see no wording in there about 3 days in the contract that was signed.
Tuesday through Thursday.
They're righty.
If something come up, you couldn't get a certain.
Not the contract I see.
There's nothing in that contract.
The one that I was handed does. So why is there a discrepancy? We had it in our binder.
No, we did not. The one that you had hand scratched
One
Tuesday
page.
through Wednesday.
I used that.
Well, if that were the case, it would have been in our file with the contracts. And the night that you brought that out, Randy looked at it and said, I didn't look at it. I did not write the statement. And if that were the case, then that should have been
I have
included.
I assume it's the word version, and the one that I read at Tuesday through Thursday. You have that reminder then?
The one in our file, the legal one in our file does not reference that at all.
And there's like 3 or 4 copies of it all. And that's a contract that we have to go on. And I guess my question is, the assessor is not working currently. So the supervisor needs to be appointed within 45 days. So if he does happen to come back, I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks, then I think it's, it would be okay to continue the schedule that he has right now until we can handle it.
And I think that's was the intent of my statement here is to wait until the supervisor returns, we'll have this committee set up. Use the language that exists today, Tuesday through Thursday.
Again, you're referencing language that isn't in the contract. That's our
I
legal.
know I should have brought it. It is not the copy that
That's on our file.
I've explained it to everybody on this board a dozen times.
Not to me.
You weren't here, you were on vacation. I copied Brad's contract. When I run it through Toshiba, it didn't, for some reason, didn't print section 4. Brad gave me the fax version, I guess it originated in Peter Door's office, that had the same language in it. So I could write the letter that I had submitted to the board in previous meetings. And somehow that got up here at this board. It was a document I left laying on my desk.
Well, and again, the document that we have in our files is a signed document. They're all original signatures. And that was something that wasn't read by the assessor, and even wasn't checked by the township, and shame on all of us. But the point is, we're talking 45 days. 45 days, he can continue to work 4 days, because again, right now, he's not even working. We're talking a short period of time.
We're talking May 4th at the earliest that we could have a supervisor appointed.
And right now, the assessor is not able to work.
Because he had surgery.
So again, I mean, we could be talking a couple of weeks, and to go through all of this for a couple of weeks, let's just leave it the way that it is. Make the motion to
Well,
include.
because you're reprimanding him for not being here on Mondays, and that's unacceptable.
I did not reprimand him for not being here on Mondays.
will.
No, I will not.
Yes, you will.
If he chooses to take Mondays off without vacation, because the board has not approved for him to work 3 days.
This board, that's your and Dave's perception. He's been doing it since he was hired.
It's not a perception. I'm just reading the contract.
And
That's all I can go on.
And it says right in the contract that when circumstances change within the township, his time, his working days will change, and that's all I did. That's all I did. And he was perfectly fine with it for a couple of months.
I think there's a motivation to, you're trying to destroy the man's career here, folks.
I kind of take offense to that.
You can take offense to all you want, Dave, but that's what you're doing.
Because we want to get our money's worth in the township.
Then if you want to say that, in the contract, does it not say that if he's going to work somewhere else during the time that he's contracted with Vienna Township, that he must get written approval from the township in order to do so?
And what happened was, Cindy knew before that meeting, dropped that bombshell, embarrassed this entire board.
Well, shame on the board.
She had time to call, email us to let us know.
But it happened. He did do that, correct?
It's not debated here.
And I'm going to take offense to that because I have taken on so many extra duties besides being a clerk. And because I had people in my office all afternoon, and that's when I found out, I had about a half an hour between when I had no one in my office and this board meeting. And I've apologized to every board member here. I said, I am sorry, but this was information that needed to come out. It needed to be told. And if you're going to be angry at anybody, I think you should be angry at the assessor when he can sit there and have multiple meetings with you and the supervisor, and then go to lunch with you just about every day and neglects to tell you. But yet it's my fault because I dropped the bombshell. I'm here for the good of the township.
Please think I'm not.
Well, I'm not real sure right now because for some reason,
I'm not out to destroy a man's career.
I know I'm not either.
And with this motion, we'll table it until we have a supervisor that can participate in the selection process.
But your motion also says to keep the agreement for 3 days till the end of the year.
Yes. Well, you could have a new contract amendment.
Then why do I want to put a date on it to go to the end of the year?
Any new contract amendments made during the existing contract debate discussions will be effective December 31st, and we go on a yearly schedule. That way, as you prepare your budget, October, November timeframe, you'll have a contract there, you'll know what the numbers are, you know what the benefits are.
You don't want us to sit down as a committee and decide this, but yet you want to change the contract right now until the end of December.
No,
You can't have it both ways.
Maintain the status quo.
Well,
Brad, does not that contract say Tuesday through Thursday in it?
Yeah, it's written in there Tuesday through Thursday, yes.
Then you need to get back in their files and show me with the original signatures a contract that says Tuesday through Thursday.
Do you have the original contract?
Not with me, no.
And we've got
Some
3 or
people
4.
on this board have the original contract, some don't. That's a problem.
No, the
No,
original
it's-
contract was given to every board member in that packet.
Well, the verbal agreement was working Tuesday through Thursday. You know, you wasn't here when I was hired, so you have no concept. Sure, the contract was Monday through Friday. Well, the township's not open on Friday.
Well, and we don't have a contract that says Tuesday through Thursday, but there's also in that contract a section that says that your schedule can change according to the needs of the township. And it lists several things, weather and you know, whatever, but it can change when the need occurs. And when I came back to you and said, I need you to start working 4 days, there were multiple items but it was because we need an assessor in here 4 days.
Well, maybe the township should go to 5 days, that'd be better.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's good, just, you know,
No, but, you know, to serve the public,
well, and you'll be on those same 5 days, Brad. How are you gonna fit 3 other municipalities in? I'm sorry, do you want to table this?
We got a motion to support it. Vote it down, and so make another.
Shelley, can you reread that motion, please? No?
I'll have to have that paper. It's a little long for me to follow, and I have to read it if it's like this. Moved by Lemieux, seconded by Fuller, to make the motion to table the assessor's contract negotiations until such time the board appoints a new supervisor. In addition, once the new supervisor has assumed the office, the new supervisor will be required to work with the full board and assessor and/or his legal counsel to complete any contract amendments within 45 business days. All existing verbal and implied contract amendments relating to work schedule of 35 hours per week, Tuesday through Thursday, inclusive, and Fridays if necessary, between previous treasurer Paul Lutenbacher and outgoing supervisor Randy Taylor, and witnessed by Marie Canterbury during the employment interview discussions, will remain in effect until the board approves the amended contract language. Any contract amendments made to the existing contract will be in effect until December 31st, 2015.
I think we need a roll call on that, please.
Dennis?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Nancy?
No.
Sue?
No.
Cindy?
No.
Dave?
No.
Motion denied.
So I guess what I'd like to do is make a motion that we set up a committee once the new supervisor is appointed. We set up a committee with the supervisor being one person, 2 other board members to sit down with the assessor and hammer out a new contract. We'll decide that when the new supervisor is.
The hammer down new contract will be the existing contract that's in question now will be null and void.
I personally, I think we should just, it should be null and void, and we just start all over again. Absolutely. Because there's a
Are you
lot
gonna
of,
put that in your motion, that the new contract?
well, that's, you know, for this to be tabled until a new supervisor is appointed, then a committee is set up to sit down with the assessor and hammer out a new contract. I do believe that that's, yeah.
But that, you gotta remember that, and it's a fault of when this took place, that I believe the treasurer, Paul Lutenbacher, and Randy made adjustments to that contract as he can do, according to that MCL that I understand. And that was never actually written into the document.
Well, number one, the way I understand contracts is that contract is between Vienna Township and the assessor. The supervisor does not have the authority to change that contract without board approval. And if the board approved it, the amendment would have been in the contract.
That part of it probably failed to take place.
Well,
It's water under the bridge, but I'm not going to sit here and let special agendas destroy that man's career. And if that happens, we'll play hell trying to get another assessor to work for this township. Got to think about the ramification of what you're doing, folks.
so there's a motion on the table. Do I have a second? I'll second. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Or, no. No, that was there. I'm sorry. Roll call, please, Shelley.
Frank?
Would you read?
The motion is to table the assessor employment contract until a new supervisor is in place, and the supervisor and 2 other appointed members of the board can hammer out the contract. Frank?
I guess I have no choice.
Sue, is that a yes then? Okay. Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next item on the agenda under new business. Genesee County Road Commission, Melinda Drive, Marcy Court, catch basin. We just, within the last couple of board meetings, approved a catch basin repair. I believe it was on, I don't remember the name of the street, but this is very similar, where the road commission has given us an estimated cost for low and high. The township would pay 1/2 of the cost. So as of right now, this particular catch basin can go anywhere from $1,400 to $2,800.
I will make a motion that we contract with the road commission to do the Melinda Drive and Marcy Court catch basin, not to exceed $2,800.
Support. Roll call, please, Shelley.
Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis, Frank,
Yes.
motion carried.
Second item on the agenda, Genesee County Road Commission, 10486 Melinda Drive, catch basin. Second catch basin, same, similar situation, the cost, our 50% cost would be anywhere from $700 low to a high of $1,400.
Again, I'd like to make that motion to do the catch basin at 10486 Melinda Drive, not to exceed $1,400.
Support.
Roll call, please, Shelley.
Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Frank, motion carried.
Next item on the agenda, Genesee County Road Commission 2015 Dust Control Program. This is the dust control program, the chloride application that we approve, I believe, every year. The first application, the township pays 50% of the cost, which right now would be $3,626.52. We would get the third application done in mid-September, and the Genesee County Road Commission would pay the entire cost of that. We also have an option to do a second application in late June, but that cost would be 100% to the township. So I know last year we approved the first and third applications. Same program as previously.
I would like to make a motion that we, again, with the County Road Commission, go into agreement to do the first and third spraying for dust control for all township roads that meet that. There's 6.4 miles, I think. And then the cost to us would be $3,626.52.
I'll support. Roll call, please, Shelley.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next item on the agenda is Resolution 04-06-15-06, 2015 election year, sets up the pays for our election workers. These pays have stayed the same from one election to the next. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 04-06-15-06.
Support.
Roll call, Shelley, please.
Dennis,
Yes.
Frank, Sue,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
motion carried.
Last item on the agenda, election inspector appointments. These are the individuals that we have be working in each of our 5 precincts. Lists out our chair people, our vice chairs, what parties they are, the receiving board.
Typically, some people do last year.
Oh, yeah, they're all trained.
We don't have to do it as individuals, we can do it as a whole.
No, we can do it as a whole, yeah.
I would like to make a motion that we approve as presented those election committee, or election chairs.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, part of our agenda, public comment. Any additional public comment? Please state your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Hearing no public comment, board comment. Sue?
I have none, thank you.
Nancy?
No, I'm going to pass tonight.
Dave?
I'm all set.
You good? Frank?
Okay.
Dennis?
I'm good.
Okay. This time I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Our next regular scheduled board meeting will be held on Monday, April 20th, 2015 at 5:30 p.m. Thank you for all coming.
I got no balls for losing.
He's in beef.
Shocking. Drives it road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We just buzzed. Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.